survey over the last number of weeks with clubs, and a lot of clubs, 25 to 30 clubs, came back with information, and we just wanted to touch base on a couple of those topics because I suppose a lot of the same items came up on it. And the two main items that came up on the presentation were the SWOT analysis for the club and athletic development. I'm from national level, I'm put under a little bit of pressure in relation to cool camps for 2021. So I wanted to add that to the agenda, just to do a one-pager and just give you a little bit of a background on the cool camps and what plans are for 2021. So I'm going to talk through cool camps. Aidan's going to do a little bit on the SWOT analysis, and then we'll talk a little bit about the athletic development. So in relation to cool camps, by the end of the month, or I think it's the 22nd of February, we have to supply a plan to Croke Park as regards who's hosting camps in Cavan. This evening, or I've prepared an email for Liam McCabe, the county secretary, to send to the club secretaries, and they have received that either this evening or in the morning. There's a little bit of a forms or a few questions on that, and I'm hoping that you might contact your club secretary and complete that form with them. It's very basic in that it's asking you the question of whether you want to host the camps, or asking you, if you're submitting the form, that you host the camps, who the main contact for the camps if it's not yourself, the availability of perhaps volunteers. So depending on the request that's there and the numbers that we have to try and cater for, the numbers we have to cater for, we may require some volunteers from the clubs to actually run the camps in your clubs. I don't know if the presentation has dropped there a bit, has it?
Yeah, we'll get it back.
So the form is quite short and brief, in that it's asking you then your preferred week. I suppose things that we need to clarify on is that, like last year, all bookings will be online, so we'll not be allowing walk-ins. Depending on the facilities at the pitch, whether there's two pitches, whether there's one pitch, car parking, access, toilets, covered stand, all this type of stuff, we will have to put capped on the numbers that can attend certain venues. Last year, we hired 65 coaches, which was a double from the previous year because of the ratio of 8 children to a coach. So if we do the basic maths, we are able to cater for 500 kids on a weekly basis. So what we try to do then is base the camps on those sort of numbers. So if we have 150 camp, we can cater for 2 of those for 150 kids, and 2 then on top of that for 100 kids. That's our 500 limit for the week or for that week. So if we can't get your preferred week, we'll be in touch with you and try and see what the next week is. But basically, the basis of that, or the reasoning for that, is the numbers and the ratio to coach numbers. So we may have a requirement if we have new camps on board and new clubs that are interested. Can you supply some volunteers? Can you supply some supervisors? So we're able to have that ratio matched and still run a safe camp for the kids that want to go. So that will be sent out to your club secretaries today or first thing in the morning. And I'd ask you then maybe to consult with them and complete the form if you're interested in hosting a camp in 2021. I need to get that information back to Croke Park by the end of the month, so I'm asking that you have that in by the middle of next week, or the 17th or 18th of February. Before we go on to SWOT analysis, I don't know if anyone has any sort of questions, if they want to knock themselves off on mute, and any questions on cool camps or the running or what their thoughts are on it, you're welcome to send them on now. Otherwise, if there's none, we'll go on to the SWOT analysis part. Okay, I don't think you see any hands up, so I'll hand it over to Aidan in relation to SWOT analysis.
Okay, folks, so SWOT analysis, we're certainly not a new term, and we're not going to reinvent the wheel. So it's basically assessing and analysing the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats for the club, for the underage structure, and for the coaching side of things for the club. Okay, so that's what we're going to be asking every club to do. And just a quick sort of questions that can develop a wee bit of conversation and develop a wee bit of outcomes in those 4 areas. Have we a coaching plan? And, you know, is it current? Does it need revising? Does it need tweaking for 2021? What works well that you're currently doing? What could you be doing better? Are the coaches in your club, are they upskilling? Could you make better use of your facilities, be that a second pitch? Are you using it enough? Are you using, is there a hall or an indoor room that you can be using to do a bit of mobility work before training? So something along those lines. Is every opportunity, is every player getting the same opportunity? Are there any barriers to participation, possibly in relation to foreign nationals or not English not being the first language to maybe kids in your catchment area? So they're the sort of questions. It's not an exhaustive list, but it can just generate a wee bit of conversation to help kind of fill out those areas, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so just a couple of examples of the same. So for example, and again, this is not exhaustive, this is not all we want to see, but you could have an experienced management committee, committed coaches and volunteers, and you could have a strong link with your local school. Definitely there would be strengths for your club from a coaching side of and underage side of things. Again, weaknesses, you're losing players between under 13 and under 17. Perhaps you've got an under 17 team is amalgamated due to the numbers, and there's an issue around loss of club identity. And maybe you've highlighted that isn't enough ex-players moving into coaching. Okay, so again, not exhaustive, but there's an idea of 6 different, or 3 for each of those terms. Okay, so opportunities. There are perhaps sports capital grants available, getting ex or current players involved in coaching, and then upskilling of coaches. And then just the last one, threats. Perhaps competition from other clubs in sports, overly dependent on a small group of volunteers. So is there potential for members losing motivation, and perhaps red tape for policies, procedures, increasing administration for people involved and volunteers involved in clubs. So there are just a couple of examples of the 4 areas filled out. So we're going to provide you with a very short questionnaire to kind of assist you coming up and drawing up the SWOT analysis. So what we're suggesting is this really, you know, shouldn't be done within a half an hour. You know, so if you're coming back with one at 7:45, we would suggest that maybe it needs just a little bit more discussion via Teams, Zoom, WhatsApp, phone call, whatever way you get it working. Draw it up, have a chat around it, have a bit of discussion, come up with a template, come up with a potential list for each of those 4 terms, kick it over amongst yourselves, and when you're happy with it, you know, press save and send it on to us. And even before that, if you have any questions around it, absolutely get in contact with us, WhatsApp your county coaches, and we'd help you whatever way we can. Okay, so again, we're saying take a wee bit of time and consideration to get these put together, and then as well, based on your SWOT analysis, we want you to come up with the 5 priorities. This is almost this is the end product of the SWOT analysis. In essence, come up with the 5 priorities for your club, and you put your most important for number 1, for number 5. From an underage coaching point of view, that's what we want out of this, and that will guide us and guide our interaction with you as an individual club, but also as a group of 40 clubs within the county as well. Okay, so that's very important. So this document, then, the working document that we will devise based on your SWOT analysis, will have, you know, contact details, priorities, our plans then to help you hit your goals, hit your targets, and then support material for your coaches. Okay, so I think just before we move on there, did someone have a question? I saw a hand up. If you have a question.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Aidan, that was me. No, I'm just wondering, are you going to email out this PowerPoint afterwards, just with the examples and stuff on it?
Yeah, we will, and it's also recording, so we'll be putting it up on the YouTube channel. So anyone that needs to look back over it, or you want to send it on to anyone in your club that might be relevant to, we'll have that, please God, by tomorrow.
Thanks, Aidan.
No problem. Anybody, anything else just in relation to that? Come on ahead, ask away. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, if you're hi Aidan, if you're already on the Ulster coaching plan, we've currently done this with Roger Keenan. Do we need to submit it again to yourselves?
Yeah, a version of it. You don't need to change it drastically just because it's coming to us. If there's something that maybe has changed or you've thought about it since that you'd like to revise, by all means. But if you have something that you're fairly confident and following a bit of discussion among your coaches that you'd be happy to submit, by all means do again.
Yeah, because we've kind of started on some of those, trying to work on them, if you know what I mean. So we've some of them in process.
That's fantastic. And again, like we said, some coaches could have some clubs could have a plan in place already, but just if you need to change it or look at it over again, it might provide a good opportunity at the start of the year.
Grand. Okay, thank you.
Roisin, there may be a few clubs that are in that same situation. So what I'd ask is probably you contact your county coach. You WhatsApp them there. They've been contacting you over the last number of weeks. So maybe just touch base with them to see, is there parts of that we can engage with, that we could help, that we could learn from, and how we then progress it across everyone. So I'd say maybe just drop a message to them off the same, and then we can see where we could go from there.
Grant, no problem. Thanks.
Any other questions just in relation to the SWOT analysis before we move on? No? Okay. Well, we'll move on.
Okay, the next thing that we want to just talk about, because it seemed to have come up on most or a lot of the people that came back to it, was the athletic development. It is at various stages as regards. So since December 2018, we've been fortunate that Andrew Quinn has got on board with us. And since 2019, we've been able to implement Andre's plan through the county coaches with the academy squad. So what we've tried to do is develop from warm-up, from 8 sessions that we would hope and get players engaged with. We don't know the gauging of when competition is going to start, but we want them to be in a position that when we get back onto the field, that they can play, they can participate, and not break down maybe with perhaps overload or detail on when we hit back to the field. So from February 16th, the county coaches are putting a video clips or a YouTube sort of live session together to start off this process. It'll start off with basic warm-up. And then it'll progress with that. Can be useful as well, very much for the coaches, because we'll have the key coaching points on that, and we feel that even if school is involved, that maybe it can be part of the physical activity from the secondary school point of view. So when we deliver those, we're targeting at 4 p.m. on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. A copy of them programs will be provided to the club coach and the contact, which is mainly yourself. Now, some of you, and you again, I'm asking you maybe to communicate with your county coach on this, is you've already started a program. You have progressed. This is what we're currently doing. I'd like that maybe you might share that with the coach that's communicating with you. And if you need assistance as regards what the next plan is, what the next detail is. As you can see there, from 2019, so for instance, our under 16s, our under 17s actually earlier on today received their plan that's on academies, their plan and their stage, and they have started from 2 years ago. They have now a new plan that takes them to the 5th of March, which they received this evening. So what we're asking is that we'll start on that process with our club players. If we link in, we have to go on the basis that everyone's starting from zero. But if there's some clubs that are on the list that have progressed a little bit further, contact your county coach and we'll see where we can help and assist you on that. We have to avoid breakdown of players when they return to the field as regards overload of maybe sessions, maybe playing with a number of teams and all that type of stuff. So this is a step in the right direction for that. The main target for this is for 12 to 16-year-olds, and it's based on Andre's program that he would have helped develop for us for the academies. I suppose the other topic I think is about games. I spoke to Orla O'Reilly is the juvenile chairperson, and there still is probably a sort of a degree of uncertainty as regards when games are, and I know that's probably an eager question for all of you, is when are they going to resume? From the conversation I had with Orla, there's a county board meeting on the 15th of February, and I think there's a motion from 1 or 2 of your clubs into that in relation to the competitions and 2021. So Orla and the youth board can't make any definite decisions until after February 15th in relation to that. I know from talking to her, the initial feeling is that if opportunity for games arise, it will be to start 2021 competitions and get them going, and that probably the competitions from last year are in 2 different categories, in that the 17s and the 13s really only need a weekend or 2 weekends to complete the competition, whereas the 15s in a different kettle of fish in that it might take 4 to 6 weekends to complete that competition. So there could be different approaches to different age groups and competitions, but Orla and our committee can't really make that confirmation or confirm that until after the county board meeting on February 15th. I suppose just finally to sort of say very quickly is what do we want of you now? So your club secretary should have received an email either this evening or in the morning in relation to the cool camps. So that will be provided tomorrow. We're asking that you talk to your club secretary on whether you want to host, and if they're hosting, that you supply that. In order not to hit everything every day, we will supply then a form with 10 or 12 questions that will help you complete your SWOT analysis on Thursday. And then finally on Monday, we will provide the YouTube link and the details of the athletic development sessions that will be starting then the following day on February the 16th, on Tuesday. So what I'm sort of asking is, you have a county coach that's WhatsApping you at the moment. If you have sort of questions or queries, if you're more developed than some other club and want to progress this, that and the other, that you engage with them, WhatsApp them the questions, and we'll try to assist you in the plan, what's suitable for you for 2021. And that our communication then perhaps throughout the year this plan will form the basis of that, of what the key targets are for 2021. And at the end of the year, we can sit down and say that we achieved A and B, we need to look at C more, and then we can progress the D, E, and F in 2022. That is the main purpose of this. So, folks, that is the bulk or most of what we wanted to pitch and present to you tonight. Rather than hitting you, we have a couple of other topics, but maybe, hopefully, we can make these meetings more regular and we can talk and hit you with those at a later meeting. So, I don't know if anyone has any questions or want to stay on, or any queries. Shout away, or if you want to engage with that through your county coach, you're more than welcome to do that.